Hey, welcome or welcome back. It is, as always, good to see you today. And in my world, it is a good day because I am done with catching up with the live streams. Um, the one that I haven't watched is the most recent live Q&A that Destiny did, and I might watch it eventually just for my own knowledge, but I will not be doing a video on it because I'm just kind of over it as far as the live streams at the moment. But we do have a video that might give us some clarity, and this is a video upload by Destiny. It's 48 minutes long. We're going to see if we can cut that down some. I do always speed them up to 1 1/4 speed because they speak very, very slowly. So let's see what kind of clarity we're going to get from Destiny in this video. I don't know how her sound level is going to be yet, so we'll see how it is. She's usually a little bit low.
Hey guys, so this is not an ideal setup, but I'm in my bed and I have some laundry I have to do. This is probably the last little bit I'm gonna read out of this notebook just because it's so much to sit and watch these like compilation videos and everything, and I'm just basically after.
It is a lot of work to watch all the videos. Her hair is very curly today.
Me and Dana get together and are basically living together. It's pretty much all from memory anyway. It's not gonna be a point of me watching videos because I'm not gonna be mostly in them or surrounded by them. So we'll start with February of 2017. And I think I've only got February to like most of March in here, and then I'll just go off memory. So this video might include some of 2018, and I might stop at that point, but I don't know. All right.
Oh my. We changed from the burp to a fart. Nice.
So February 2017.
I guess, Zachary Michael, I guess, should be getting his farting and pooping jokes, I guess, with this video.
Amberlynn just talks about weight loss a lot, like wanting to lose weight or losing some weight, maybe. I don't know.
Yes, she
She's
does.
hanging out with her friends a lot, going with Charla and what have you, and I'm just doing my own thing with Dana. Like, we're still living together at this point.
I'm gonna have to go find out who this Charlotte person is. I don't know who this Charlotte person is, but apparently it was a good friend of theirs they worked with.
I'm just doing my own thing. She's doing her own thing. I was hanging out with Dana, when me and her first started, actually dating, so, and maybe even a little bit before, I don't know. But me and Dana started dating February 13th, so it wasn't very long into February. After me and Dana started dating, though, I do know that I had to help her and her mom out with getting to and from work. I think most of them had a way to work. I was usually driving them home, which I was taking Dana home anyway at night, and we were just hanging out a little bit. But I was still going home, sometimes staying the night at her house, but I was mostly still going home to the apartment. And then on the weekends, I would stay with Dana. Like, Friday night, after work, go home with her and just be there till Sunday. And on Sunday...
So Amber was left all alone. I wonder if Amber's other friends would have taken her to the store or places if she asked them to.
Sundays, Amberlynn would have this whole thing planned out with what she wanted me and her to do, whether that be going to the movies, grocery shopping, what have you. And at one point, we got a Costco membership because I was tired of her buying just the smallest little bitty bits of things, just so I'd have to take her shopping weekly. I was like, why do you have to grocery shop weekly? Why can't you do at least 2 weeks? Why does it have to be weekly? Because sometimes I would have plans and I would have to circulate myself around what Amberlynn needed to do, and it was...
That can be frustrating when it's your ex-girlfriend and they still rely on you to do these things. And I would say, there are some things you can buy in bulk. I mean, there are things that you can freeze and use them for later, but it also depends how much freezer storage space do you have. And if you're buying fresh vegetables, which I highly doubt Amberlynn was, those can go bad quickly, or, meat. You can freeze the meat, but again, if you just have a regular size freezer on your fridge, you may not have a lot of storage space. But yes, I can see it being very, very frustrating because you're still living together. This is your ex. who does not drive, who isn't super mobile, um, is still relying on you to take her places, run these errands, but then she's also planning days for you. Like, oh, we're gonna go see a movie and go do this. That's Amberlynn wasn't over Destiny, obviously. We know that she was still in love with Destiny for, a couple of years after this. So she was still trying to find a way to insert herself into Destiny's life and be in her life.
It's kind of annoying. And I thought the Costco membership would help. It didn't. I wrote, the weekly shopping, all that. At this point, me and Dana were still talking, I guess, when I got the Costco membership. We weren't dating yet, but I know that we were still hanging out a lot. We were going on, like, some small dates before work, hanging out after work, whatever. The situation that happened with Charla, and Amberlynn driving by Dana's house when I was hanging out with her, it doesn't matter what me and Dana were doing in there, that was still very...
Kind of creepy. It's kind of creepy. Let's drive by the person that my ex-girlfriend's seeing. Let's drive by and see if she's there and see what. It's kind of creepy and stalkerish.
not called for, but basically Dana was very upset with that too. That day, I remember that day, I don't know why Charlotte didn't work. I don't think Charlotte ever got moved to morning shift at that job. I think she was literally just calling out to hang out with Amberlynn sometimes. But Amberlynn was like, oh, me and Charlotte want to hang out today. Can you just drop me off at her house? And then just get me after you're done hanging out with Dana, after work. Because, I had to work. So I was like, yeah, that'll work. So, I take her to Charlotte's, go to work, do work, and then I take Dana home, and we're just, just trying to hang out, whatever.
So Charlotte had a car. Why couldn't Charlotte take Amberlynn back home when they're done hanging out instead of waiting for Destiny? Because if they drove by Dana's place, Charlotte had a car.
I want to say we were dating at this point, though, but I don't know. I just know it was brought up in the compilation video, and the compilation videos are they're not exactly in order because Amberlynn uploaded weird. But, me and Dana, things went where they went, and, I was just busy, obviously, and my phone was in the living room. We were in the bedroom. And when we came back out, I want to say Amberlynn had Snapchatted me a picture of my car in Dana's parking lot, Dana's driveway, and all that. And it really...
That's creepy. That is creepy. Don't do that, folks. Do not do that.
It more so upset me because, Amberlynn wanted me to come get her after I got done hanging out with Dana because Charla had said that she was not going to have either the gas or didn't want to drive that late to take her home because it was like a 30-minute commute. Which was, I didn't really care, I just figured I'd get done when I got done and I would pick Amberlynn up and so be it. Well, I guess to Amberlynn, I was taking too long, but Charla went out of her way to drive her past Dana's house and all the way back to her own house, but she couldn't drive Amberlynn home. It really made me mad because...
Yeah, that's a bit much and very stalkerish.
Where Dana lived and where Charla lived was probably about the same distance, maybe a little bit less. But in the time it took her to drive there and back, it probably would have used the same gas than it would have been to take Amberlynn home. So it made me really mad. I explained all that. Me and Dana started dating on February 13th, 2017.
Well, right before Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day, now we all know Valentine's Day.
Amberlynn's was a live stream
for Amberlynn. The day of Valentine's Day, I knew I had to take Dana the presents I had got her for Valentine's Day. I wanted to, hang out with her before we went to work and give her presents. I got her a giant teddy bear, a Harry Potter cup, a card, and maybe a couple other little things, I don't know. But before I did that, Amberlynn had me get up early and she asked if I would go get her some wine from the liquor store, and I was like, whatever, and I did.
It must have been her live stream wine.
And she got drunk in a video and, and all that. I tried to spend a lot of time away from Amberlynn just because things were still kind of weird between us, and I don't know. And Amberlynn was obviously very upset about that. Amberlynn ends up staying at Dana's with me one of the times that I stay there because I think it was a Sunday actually. I had went home on a Sunday from hanging out with Dana, and me and Amberlynn had ran and done a bunch of stuff, and I said, because I think I had got Dana something. I think I had got her like a little gift or just wanted to see her, grab something. I don't remember if I forgot. I don't something. I had to go back there. So we were there, and her roommate were drinking. Dana and her roommate. You see her. Her name's Sarah. She's in some of the videos Amberlynn posted after this. We go there, and Amberlynn ends up like, "Oh, I want to get drunk. You know, let's drink. It'll be okay. Like we're all friends here, whatever." And it was a little awkward, but it happened. And then I think we all ended up calling out at work the next day because we were all a little hungover. But it was awkward, but I mean, it was still like a good time, whatever. And then after that, that's when Amberlynn's basically like, "Oh, bring Dana with us when we go to do stuff." So basically, it wasn't just like us trying.
So Amberlynn is in like, oh, whenever we go do shopping and things, bring Dana with you. That's weird. I mean, was she trying to scope out the woman that Destiny left her for?
Hang out with Amberlynn, me and Dana. It was me having to help Amberlynn go grocery shopping and do this and do that. Like, she always wanted to run around Lexington. She always wanted to do this. She always wanted to do that. And basically, Amberlynn was like giving me the okay to just bring Dana with us so we could have spend time.
It's okay for you to bring your girlfriend with you. You don't need the permission for that. But I could understand it being awkward, very awkward to have Dana and Amber both there
together
at this point.
It's whatever. Dana stayed with me a couple nights at the apartment when she could.
But that was awkward. Did they get the second bedroom? Do they have a second bedroom with a bed in it? I mean, I guess they did.
And babysat Cash. Okay, I was about to explain this when I literally made this video, and Amberlynn went live today and talked about Cash, my dog Cash. His name.
Okay, yeah, so Amber said in her video that Cash had bit a little girl and Destiny was going to have the dog put down, but in a very southern way, with somebody just, let's see, Old Yeller style, basically.
Was Johnny Cash. And I have June Carter. He's right here behind me. A little sassy turd. I had her babysit him a couple times when we were like going to be out, because when we got him, he was supposed to be 6 weeks old. It turned out he had to have only been like 3 or 4 weeks old. And I actually didn't go with him, with Dana and Maggie, her friend, when they went to get him. They just knew that we wanted a boy. We didn't want a girl because we didn't want to deal with, a dog going in heat, getting them fixed, all that. Like, we just wanted a boy. I also just prefer.
So you weren't going to get the boy dog fixed either? So you're not going to fix the boy dog?
Boys. I've never had too many girl dogs. I had Twinkie. That's like the only girl dog I've had as an adult. So, and I had a pit bull. That was a girl, actually. But she was not fixed. She never went in heat with me. I can say that. But Cash, like I said, was very tiny when we got him. I did not go with them. They went out in the middle of nowhere, and they said, we really want a boy. And the only boy they had he was like itty bitty. They said, compared to the other puppies that were in the basket, he was so tiny. And, sorry. The guy tried to tell them that he was a runt, basically. And that's what Dana told me, because that's all she knew. Well, when she got him home, his eyes were still kind of milky, like his ears were just kind of open, like he didn't have any teeth yet, not even little nubs, just like good.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the dog should have been weaned yet.
And I was like, holy crap, they gave you a too young puppy. Like, that baby should not be away from its mom. This is crazy. So, I got puppy formula bottles, anything that I could think we would need for a puppy, like that little. Like, I like, we had these wipes because sometimes he would go to the bathroom on his own, but like when puppies are first born, they have to be stimulated to go to the bathroom. And so we would have to do that. Like, there was a lot we had to do for this dog. We raised this dog literally from a bottle. He had to have a passy because they're so used to being with their mom and being able to nurse all the time that he really thought he needed his bottle all the time, and we would like feed him his bottle till he got really tired and swap it for a passy. I mean, it was literally like raising a baby.
Aww.
And that's why Amberlynn had to babysit him, because he needed constant, just everything going on.
Yeah, that dog was too young to be given to people.
So, and when we were at work, thankfully Dana's roommate was there through all this. She worked night shift, so she had him during the day. So it was pretty nice. Um, but eventually he got bigger and didn't need all of that, obviously. Um, well, we had him for a long time, like basically our whole relationship. I mean, um, eventually we have to move out of our house, me and Dana. This is getting way ahead of everything, but eventually we moved out of our house that we first had together in with her friend, and then I moved to Florida, and Dana had them. Well, then when she was moving to Florida, we couldn't bring our animals with us. That's also when I had my pit bull. Very hard to find anywhere to live with a pit bull. I was thankful of the house that me and Dana first had together. It was like a rent to own type situation.
Yeah, pit bulls have a very bad reputation. There are some places where you can even own a pit bull, and live in that area. Just all dogs have a tendency to be mean. If they're raised that way, they're going to be mean. Some, I guess, are naturally more, I guess, aggressive breeds, but if you don't raise them that way, they more than likely aren't going to be aggressive.
So we could have her, like there wasn't anything against it, but it was going to be very hard. And she was also deaf. The pit bull was. I'm getting off
Aw.
topic on Cash, but I'm just letting you know what happened to my pit bull. Um, Dana had these friends that were like, "Oh, we have this big farm that's fenced in. She could run literally as far as she ever thought she could. Like everything was really good." So that's where she went. We
Okay, so Pipple went to the farm upstate.
found a loving place for her to go, and it was awesome. But with Cash, we let Dana's dad wanted to keep her or him because he's a real good dog. He is a very good, like security kind of dog. Like he was not gonna let anyone get messed with if he was around. Now he did not let him be inside. He was chained up outside, and I feel like that's one of the things that led to.
Hmm. So Dana's dad didn't want dogs inside the house and chained them up outside. I I don't like dogs being chained up. It's not fair to the dog. Couldn't he at least have got like a pen for the dog to be outside in?
Everything that happens with Cash was just he went from being he was 98% of the time outside with us too, but it was because he wanted to be. Like it got to the point where he was letting himself out of the house and just staying outside all the time. So I mean, he loves being outside. And so when she moved here, that's where he went. And then about a year into living in Florida, we were like, we want Cash down here with us. So my dad's kind of against having a older dog come in the house. So I was like, well, I'll see if a friend.
Did you say having an older dog come in the house? If I don't know where we are in the timeline, but she and Dana broke up like what last year, and if they got Cash in 2017, the dog would have just been no more than a year old at this point. I mean, at most the dog is 5. I think the dog was put down, so the dog's probably like was just 4 years old. So it wasn't an older dog if that's what he said.
Can watch after him while we try to find a place because we didn't plan on moving back to Kentucky. We really didn't. We didn't know it. Like if we knew we were going to move back to Kentucky, we wouldn't have brought him down here, obviously. But he was staying with one friend at first, then it wasn't working out with their dog, and then he started staying with my friend Haley, and he did great there. Was around her kids, her smaller kids, never had any issues. Was great there. And then we moved back to Kentucky, and he was basically just with us back at her dad's house because we were kind of staying back and forth between my mom's house and her parents' house. And we had tried to take him to my mom's before, but he's too aggressive with other male dogs, and my mom had a few male dogs, so it just wasn't working. Carter the whole time was with my mom. He was staying with Dana until she moved to Florida, and he just stayed with my mom. Which she had already had him, but Dana kept him for a little while and then gave him back.
They just play musical chairs with their dogs, don't they? And this poor Cash was moved around so much, just so many different places and people, it probably could never get comfortable. And then having to be chained up outside, this poor dog.
But because of the whole thing with Carter trying to get bred with the other dog. I've explained that before. Well, like I said, we move back. He stays back and forth with us, whatever. Well, then we don't want a roommate when we start looking for somewhere to live and figuring out job situation. But the girl that we ended up becoming roommates with actually worked at the daycare that we worked at with us, or she worked at the sister one. And she was like, "It'd be really nice if you guys moved in, help out, whatever." So, and we were able to bring cash, so we had cash there. And it happened on New Year's Day. New Year's Day 2020 is when this situation happened.
2020.
We had actually.
So Cash would have been, let's see, 18, 19, almost 3 years old.
Spent New Year's with Amber Lynn and Becky and Eric and Ricky. I don't know if that's the Trump night y'all are talking about. I don't know. But I know that.
Wait, New Year's Eve 2020 or New Year's Day? So almost 4 years old, I guess.
We still were kind of iffy on him because he had shown signs of aggression towards dogs, never people. So we still just kept weary because our roommate had a dog. And I was like, listen, while we're gone, either just let him be outside, let him in, drink water, eat, there's a water bowl outside, whatever, or keep him in his kennel, or just make sure you're like with him. If you're just going to have him out, just make sure you watch him, because I just didn't want him getting aggressive with her dog, even though it was a female dog. I just didn't want anything happening while we weren't there. And like I said, we had hung out with Amber Lynn, Becky, Eric, Ricky. Well, Amber Lynn and Becky were like, well, it's been a while since we've been, like, towards where we lived. And she was like, well, what if we go to Olive Garden and all this stuff? So we drove, and we were literally getting into the town that me and Dana were living in. And our roommate starts calling Dana, and she's, like, hysterical, and she says that Cash has just bit her 2-year-old that was also living there. And we try to ask her what happened.
Oh, so there was also a 2-year-old living with them.
Like, is the baby okay? Is it like, like what happened? And she did not know. She did not know. She said she didn't see it happen. She wasn't even in the living room. It happened.
You probably shouldn't leave a 2-year-old in the room with a dog that you aren't familiar with. So, who knows what happened? The girl, not to blame the child, but children can get a little rambunctious at that age and might have pulled the dog's tail, pulled the dog's ear, done something that made the dog snap at her.
In the kitchen, she was in her bedroom, which was in the very back of the house. The kitchen was at the front of the house. I don't know what happened. There was a lot of iffy things going on with her as a mother as well that was beyond my control. And I'm not gonna get into all that. But all I knew was that I needed to go and get this baby to the doctor. I didn't know what to do about Cash right then. I just knew that with this happening and taking her to the hospital, that animal control and the health department were going to get involved, and 98% sure Cash was going to have to get put down.
That does happen a lot of times, but I think they also look at the situation, and if the dog has a history of being aggressive, was the dog provoked, before they make that decision.
And it was either us take care of it or someone else. So I was like freaking out about that, freaking out about the baby. I tell Amber Lynn and Becky, sorry, this is what's going on, whatever.
Hopefully the kid wasn't hurt badly. Hopefully it was just maybe a nip. Hopefully the kid is fine, wasn't hurt. I hope that's the case.
We get to the place and I see the baby. I immediately put her in my car. Like, I was really close to that baby, and I feel really bad for that baby. Like I said, I had some concerns with the way that person was mothering that child, and I still think about her almost every day, and I feel really
We have concerns about the way you treat your animals.
bad that I never did anything about what was going on with that kid, but she's fine now. I know she is, but I still feel bad about what was going on then. But, I mean, she would go straight to me, like, so I literally got there, got her to the hospital. Dana stayed behind with Cash. Her mom came and got Cash. They took him to her dad's house. I get to the hospital with the baby. She didn't need stitches or anything.
Okay, good.
I have pictures of when it happened, but I'm not gonna show those because it was a child.
Excuse me, burp.
But she got bit basically right here, like basically just one bite right here, and it was pretty rough. It was already very bruised. She didn't need stitches though or anything. Cash had his rabies shot, so there wasn't that to worry about.
Yeah, that's a rough space. Hope luckily it wasn't up on the eye or anything, but I'm very glad the kid is okay and didn't require stitches.
And I did have to fill out forms for the health department animal control. And I asked them, am I just gonna have to put him down like what? And they said don't do anything until they came and assessed him. Basically, I'm sorry if you hear him snoring. So we have to wait for a phone call, and then we have to wait for an appointment for someone to come out. So it literally happened in like 2 days though. I got a call while I was at work, I think the next day, just asking where the dog was and, like what was being done right then. And I told him, where he was, and I told them that we hadn't done anything to him, that we weren't home when it had, like, they asked us what happened. Because, like I said, I had asked the mom and she didn't know. And I told her all of what I knew, and, she's like, okay, well, someone will be out tomorrow to do it. And I said, okay, well, I have to work, but someone will be there. So Dana's dad waited for this guy the next day. And listen, that Cash was also territorial over just, like, male gender. Like, he didn't like male dogs, he didn't like men. He liked Dana's dad, and that's literally about it. And, like, a couple guy friends that we had, but, like, just random men.
So the dog didn't like any men. That's weird. Typically, I mean, I'm not a dog expert. I've not owned dogs since I was like a very small child. I don't know a lot about dogs. But from what I understand and what I've like read and heard is that usually dogs won't develop that kind of distrust or hatred of a specific gender unless they've been mistreated by those people in the past. So it's weird that they've had this puppy since it was basically born, very, very little, and it's has this mistrust and dislike of male dogs and, men in general. So I'm wondering if the dog had been mistreated possibly when it wasn't with Destiny and Dana. I don't know. That's complete speculation on my part, but it just seems weird that this dog would have a dislike and distrust of men. Um, maybe because it wasn't around very many men. I mean, maybe that could be it because it was only around Dana's dad. Maybe it wasn't around many men, so it didn't try. I don't know.
No, was not his cup of tea. Well, Cash was down on a chain, and he let this health department guy walk down to him, rub his belly, scratch his ears, just act like the best dog to this man. And Dana's dad even explained to him, "Hey man, he doesn't like men. Don't get try to get too friendly with him." And then he let him do all that. So it was just very surprising. And the guy basically
Hmm.
said that he didn't deem Cash dangerous. He said that it was ultimately a family matter because we were all living together when it happened, and it was up to us what we thought should be done about Cash.
Okay, so they didn't say the dog should be put down. They didn't think he was dangerous to people. Um, but it's a family matter, so it seems like they're going to decide on their own that Cash needs to be put down, and that's just sad. That they could have given him to a shelter or rehomed him like they did the pit bull on the farm, let him run around on a farm instead of being chained up in Dana's dad's backyard. It's probably why he's not happy.
And when we talked to Dana's dad about it, we were like, well, how can we trust him again in someone's house? Like, we don't know what he's going to do. And he basically just said, don't put him down. Just let him stay here with me, out here on his chain, being a good dog. So he can't get in no trouble. Because none of us wanted to see him put down. It was not an easy decision, but it was also, you have to worry about him biting somebody. Like that, you can get arrested for that, I believe, or at least charged, like, and pay medical bills and all of this. And
Well, you can pay
it's another thing to
medical,
also just
yes.
let him hurt somebody knowing that he's done it before. Like, that's a big thing. And I mean, it happened.
But without knowing why the dog did that, it makes it hard to make that call.
And I know Amberlynn tried to say, oh, you can retrain dogs. No, you can't.
Yes, you can. You can train dogs. There are dogs rescued from dogfight rings, and they're able to be rehabilitated. There are some that are so far gone that they can't be. But yeah, you can you can rehabilitate dogs and train them and let them know, hey, people care about you. You don't have to do this anymore. You don't have to be aggressive. And they will learn. Yes, you can retrain dogs.
There was, like, sometimes there's nothing you can do for an animal.
Do you really think Cash was one of those animals? This dog was so vicious and so far gone that it would just hurt everyone.
Try to make it as comfortable as possible, and that's what we thought we did. Um, well, he was there for a while, and then me and Dana ended up moving out of that roommate's house because, like I said, there was that happened, a lot going on. We just ended up moving out of there, and then we moved in to our own place. Tried to bring Cash there, but there was like this stray dog that walked around, and he was like the neighborhood dog. And when we tried to, sorry, when we tried to keep Cash there, he kept trying to get in a fight with his dog, and
It's territorial, protecting his area.
it's not like Cash could go out there and be by himself and run around anyway. Like he'd have to be on a runner, but I was just afraid of him being on a runner and then him and his dog getting in a fight and Cash not being able to get away and him getting hurt because this dog was significantly bigger than him. I don't know what kind of dog it was. I want to say he might have been a Pyrenees, but he was a big dog. Cash was Great Pyrenees Australian Shepherd mix. He was a very beautiful dog. Tried to keep him there, so we just kept him down the road to Dana's dad's house. Saw him all the time, still took him and did everything with him like we would if he lived with us. You know, like he was good. Well,
At least they went and took him places and took him away from being chained up, at least.
then we go to move out of, this was in 2020, like I said. No, Cash got put down. Yeah, he did, that incident happened in 2020, but Cash got put down in 2021. So it's been very recent. Well, 2021, June of 2021, we go to move in with Dana's dad after we come out of the house that we had together. And
Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry if you heard that little burp.
when the day that we're moving into the house, I don't know how, but he gets off of his chain, and my niece, who's 6, is swinging on the swing set that's up by the house, and he's just like, probably like 6 feet away from her, just like at a stance and growling, like he's just waiting for her to do the right move and he's gonna get her. And he had never done that before to her. Like he knows those kids. Those kids have always played with him. It was crazy. Well, Dana realizes he's off of his chain. I don't tell it because I'm like moving stuff in and out in the front of the house. This is behind the house. Well, Dana starts yelling for me, telling me that he's off the chain. And, you know, I try to get to Gracie, between him and Gracie, and so does Dana. And Dana tries to get him to get back on his chain, and he kind of growls at her, but then he kind of steps back and realizes who it is. I don't know if he was just like confused or what. Gets him back on the chain, everything's fine. You know, like nothing happened, but it was scary. And
I'm wondering if maybe there were neighbor kids in the area that were maybe abusing Cash while he was chained up in the backyard. Because who knows if Dana's dad was always home. And if the dog was just chained up out back, anybody can come into the yard. So part of me is wondering if maybe the dog was being abused by other people.
I felt bad for him. And I just kept going down there trying to love on him, and he let me. And about 2 days later, I went down there and was like really good playing with him. I had him all excited. He was still on his chain, though. I didn't want him to get off of it just in case. But I was playing with a stick with him, like we were playing with toys. I was loving on him, like he was being such a good dog. And I turned around from him when I went to be done playing with him to go back inside because I had got dirty. I was ready to go in. I was ready to eat, you know, whatever. And as soon as I turned around from him, I don't know like what happened, but he jumped onto me, like attacking, jumped, scratched my back all up, and was just like snarling and trying to get my neck from behind. And I mean, it was scary. I honestly thought that he was going to get me, but I just barely got out of his like chain range. And I went inside and I told Dana that, and I was like, I don't know if it was like something I did or like what happened, like that he just snapped. And she tried to go down there and he tried to snarl and do everything her way, not even let her attempt to play with him.
I think part of it had to do with being chained up. Something happened to this dog, is my guess, that they just didn't know about.
Anything. So then we were like going back and forth talking about it. We were like, well, what do we do? Like, if no one can go down there and play with him, no one can go down there and love on him, no one can go down there and just be like, come on, Cash, you're going to go with us today and run around and take him to PetSmart, whatever. You know, like, just do normal things with your dog. Because we were still doing those things.
Would you take him to PetSmart if you thought he was aggressive, really?
I was like, if we cannot do these things, he's going to be miserable, not having any attention, not just being on a chain day in and day out. Like, who's going to feed him? No one.
Yeah, let him go live on a farm somewhere. Take him to a shelter or somewhere that you could surrender him to and just say, hey, look, He's being a little aggressive. We can't handle this. Maybe you can.
When I go near him, we were just like very concerned, and we were like, there's just no way for an animal to have to live with no human contact, just food and water when you can get it if you let someone near you to feed you.
If the dog didn't like humans at this point, he probably would have been very happy to just be running around outside somewhere in a farm.
And being tied up all the time, like because there was no way we could take him out anywhere. How could we trust him? Like it was very emotional for me and Dana. We were both very upset, and Dana's dad ended up putting him down for us. Yes, that means that he
Old Yeller style. I will say this is very common in the southern U.S. It happens in Missouri, in my state, in the southern part as well. This is very common in southern parts to just be like, well, gonna put him down, and they'll just go shoot the dog, basically.
used. I don't know how to say that without it getting like in trouble on YouTube, but he did it himself. That's all you need to know, really. It was very traumatic. Um, and then shortly after that, we lost our other dog Piper, and we don't know what happened to Piper. We had her for about a year. She was about to turn 2 years old when we lost her. We lost her in January before me and Dana broke up, and I still don't
What do you mean lost her? Did she die? Did she run away?
know what happened to her. We don't know what was wrong with her. She had just got sick and passed, but she was a
Okay.
blue heeler beagle basset hound mix, and she was a pretty dog. And Cash and her got along really good.
Wait, did Destiny and Dana just break up in January of this year? Or last year? I thought they broke up like middle of last year. So she must be in January of 2022. Because it's 2023, Libby. Learn what year it is. Um, I thought it was last year, like mid-year when they broke up. Destiny's been through a lot of dogs. Oh my goodness.
But I don't know. I'm sorry, my legs itch. I got mosquito bites. Um, so that is what happened with Cash. It wasn't her story to tell. It wasn't her business. She can try to say that she tried to make like this big deal about everything when it was going.
We could say the same when it comes to some of these more personal things that Destiny has said about Amberlynn too. Um, that it's not her place, not her story to tell. Now there has been several things that Destiny has said that about when people have asked it in chats and things. She's like, it's not my place to say. But some of these things that she has shared probably shouldn't have been shared. Um, Now for Amberlynn to bring this up on her own when she has typically just been responding to things that Destiny has said was a little weird, but she was answering a question from her live chat. Somebody asked, what's the worst thing Destiny has ever done? Um, and it was Cash. The story about Cash was what Amberlynn told. So I'm not sure if that was just a reason for Amberlynn to bring it up because she did kind of threaten Destiny, she told us. Well, she didn't say she threatened Destiny, but she kind of said, oh, if you're going to be doing this, basically, are you going to tell them that your mom beat me up? Are you going to tell them that you had your dog killed? Um, so, because kind of saying, oh, if you don't tell them, I will. If you're going to be saying shit about me, I'm going to start saying shit about you. So I'm wondering if, I mean, because Amberlynn had just been responding to things that Destiny had said directly. And this was something she brought up on her own, even though Destiny was going to tell us, apparently, because she had written it down in her little book here. But anyway.
On. I don't remember her making a big deal of everything. I just remember trying to take care of that baby, try to get everything figured out with the health department. I had a lot of stuff going on when it went down. I don't remember her putting her 2 cents in towards it. And I mean, ultimately, it was up to me and Dana. Like, she can say that she was upset about it and that dogs can be retrained. Like I said, maybe dogs can be retrained, but from my experience, no. I mean, not seen, but I don't know if it's like a southern thing, if it's like a backwoods thing,
Yes.
but it's pretty. I don't want to say normal, but my whole life I've had to have dogs put down and us just be the ones to do it. I've never done it myself. I know my stepdad's done it, and
it's a very southern kind of backwoods kind of thing to just the whole old yeller with the dog. Um, yeah, it's unfortunately common, and I feel bad for the dogs because I'm sure a lot of these dogs were just in bad situations and could have been rehabilitated.
His dad had done it. Like to me, I don't know. It was just like one of those things that's normal to me. It might not be normal to some of you guys, but it is to me. And you can call me an animal killer, but I mean, it's a very traumatic thing that happened, and nothing you guys say like that is going to bother me because I know where I stand with it. So yeah, that is Cash and everything that happened with him.
All right, well, that is that. I will say I've probably divided this into two parts. I will say that Destiny is correct in that she hasn't shown herself in the best light in some of these things, especially with the dog and some other situations as well. But it's her story to tell. I don't agree with how the whole situation with Cash was handled, but that's her way of handling it, I guess. So, all that being said, this will be the first half of this little reaction video, and it'll be the second half for the other half of her video. So, until next time, be safe and take care.